The water in the Hranice abyss is warmer than it has any right to be, and no one has ever found the bottom. A robot went looking in 2016. Its tether ended at 473 meters, still hanging in open black water. Machines give up in Hranice. People are less sensible. On the 4th of October 2011, 2 divers stood at the green surface pool above the abyss, and only one of them was going deep. Daniel Croft was the one staying high. 41 years old, 400 dives, most of them spent watching another diver's gauge. He kept a photograph of his daughter taped inside his dry suitcase. Support divers are the ones who come home. That was the arrangement. Peter Madden was the one going down. He had trained 8 years for this push. 200 meters on a scooter, deeper than anyone had gone in the abyss that season. The math was rigid. 12 minutes of bottom time on trimix, 4 stage cylinders dropped on the line, then 3 hours of decompression, paid back 1 quiet meter at a time. At 9:40, Peter dropped past Daniel and kept dropping, scooter humming, his light shrinking to a coin, then a grain, then nothing. The schedule said Daniel would see that light again at 10:15, rising under him at the 60-meter station, where he waited with the gas that would bring Peter home. 10:15 came. The water below stayed black. 10:20, still black. Daniel ran the schedule backward twice and got the same answer twice. At 10:21, he understood that something below him had failed. No light rose. No bubbles came. The plan had failed, and the protocol for that moment is written in because no one can be trusted to write it down there. The support diver does not chase. Below 60 meters, Daniel's gas was the wrong mix. Chasing meant 2 recoveries instead of 1. He checked his gauge. 9 minutes of deco gas left at that stop. He gave the abyss 8 of them, hanging on the line, staring down into water that gave nothing back. Then he did the hardest thing a diver can do. He went up. What happened below was reconstructed later, from the stage bottles and the dive computer. At 194 meters, Peter's scooter had flooded. He dropped it and kept finning down, 6 meters short of the number he had trained 8 years to touch. Narcosis builds like a slow tide at that depth, even on trimix. His turn came 90 seconds late. In record diving, 90 seconds is not a delay. It is a verdict. The recovery took 6 divers and 19 days. They found Peter Madden at 206 meters, below every number on his plan. He had died still facing down, toward a floor that was not there. Daniel Croft surfaced with 4 minutes of gas and sat by the green pool until dark. He survived by following the protocol exactly. Every support diver knows the arrangement. Not one of them believes it until it happens. One diver died chasing the floor. One survived by trusting the schedule instead. Daniel has not dived the abyss again. Somewhere under Czechia, the warm water goes down and keeps its bottom to itself. The cold under the Berger plateau has a name. Gouffre Berger was the first cave that took human beings below 1,000 meters back in 1950s, and it has been collecting them ever since. When storm rain hits the plateau, the water reaches the lower streamway in 4 hours. The cave floods from the inside out. The people underground are always the last to know. In August 1998, 2 men were rigging survey stations 800 meters down. The older man had surveyed the Berger streamway across 20 years of expeditions. He read water the way farmers read sky. The younger man was on his second trip, strong, careful, 26 years old. He had promised his girlfriend a phone call by Sunday midnight. The forecast that morning had said clear. 800 meters of rock cannot hear a forecast change. They worked the afternoon in the canyon passage above the sump, where the stream runs thin and glassy over pale rock. Boot-deep water. A sound like a quiet conversation. At 6 in the evening, the conversation changed. The older man stopped mid-measurement and held up one hand. The stream had found a new note. Lower. Busier. He put 2 fingers in the flow and watched it climb the first knuckle in a 60 count. Rain had been falling on the plateau for 3 hours. The flood pulse was already below them, filling the one corridor that led home. They ran the canyon. The water ran faster. They were trapped. The sump had sealed. Between them and the way out stood a passage with a ceiling underwater, and behind them the stream kept arriving. The older man had seen the Berger flood twice from a distance. He knew the shape of what came next. The water would rise for as long as the storm fed it, and it would not negotiate. They climbed, not toward the exit, there was no toward, up the canyon wall to a mud ledge 2 meters above the old floodline, wide as a bookshelf. They took stock like accountants. 2 carbide lamps, 1 survival bag, 6 degrees Celsius, and both of them wet to the waist. The water climbed all night. It put out the lower world 1 meter at a time, until their 2 lamps lit a lake that had been a passage, rising toward a shelf that had been safe. By 4 in the morning, the lake stopped 30 centimeters below the ledge. 30 centimeters. The width of a hand and a hope. It held there while they sat shoulder to shoulder in 1 survival bag, doing hypothermia math. 6 degrees, wet clothes, no food since noon. At dawn, the rain on the plateau eased. The lake began, slowly, to give the canyon back. The older man looked at the retreating water and made an old caver's decision. The sump would stay for a day, maybe 2. The cold would not wait that long. He would free dive the short first pool, read conditions, and come back for the younger man. He went into the brown water without a line. He did not come back. The rescue reached the ledge 31 hours after the first raindrop. 40 rescuers above, 2 French cave diving teams below. The divers came up trailing line and light and found the younger man alive, 4 degrees of core heat from joining the statistics. They found the older man on their way back through, at the second pool, where the ceiling dips and the silt hangs. He had died 200 meters from open passage, reading the water one last time, and getting it almost right. The younger man survived to make the phone call, 2 days late. The Berger is still the coldest kind of famous. It was the first cave that let people below 1,000 meters, and it has never once promised to let them back.
The most beautiful cave on Earth sits under a New Mexico desert ridge, sealed behind a locked steel gate since 1986. Lechuguilla Cave. Nearly 500 meters deep, more than 200 kilometers of passage, and the people allowed inside it each year would fit on 1 bus. There is a reason for the gate, and it is not just the crystal. Help does not reach this place. The only stretcher rescue ever hauled from deep Lechuguilla took 4 days. Everyone who goes in carries that number. In May 2008, a 5-person survey team went through the gate with permits, tents, and 18 hours of battery life per person per day. Evan Sato walked third. 32 years old, he had mapped 40 caves, and he called his wife from the desert parking lot before every trip. Same words every time. 3 days, then pancakes. 2 days in, the team was working a lead off the western borehole, a virgin passage no light had ever touched.
This is what survey teams live for, somewhere no human has ever been. The lead was a descending chute, smooth calcite, angled like a playground slide built by something that did not like people. Evan went first, feet down, chest to the floor. They would name it later, the birth canal. 12 meters in, the chute swallowed a centimeter of clearance. 15 meters in, another. He exhaled to slide through the third bend, the way you are trained to. The bend took the exhale and did not give the space back. He was stuck, chest pinned flat, boots higher than heart. The rock held him. Upside down, worse than level. His feet rode 11 degrees above his head, and gravity began quietly moving his blood where blood should not pool. In that position, a healthy heart works uphill. It can do that for hours. It cannot do it for days. And rescue here is measured in days. The team did not go for the entrance. That math kills. They went to work where he lay. 2 cavers behind him rigged webbing to his harness. One wormed down the chute head first to Evan's boots, with padding and a hand line. The chute gave him back 4 centimeters in the first hour. Then nothing for 3. They talked to him the whole time. Water when he could turn his chin, his heart doing uphill work in the dark. 8 hours in, his answers slowed. The team leader made the call every rescuer dreads. Cut the shirt, grease the chest, pull harder than is kind. It took 11 hours and 5 people. 1 rope, 40 meters of webbing, skin left on 3 of the 4 bends. Evan Sato had been trapped in the chute since breakfast. At the widening, hands took his ankles, then his belt, then all of him. Evan Sato came out of the birth canal backward, bleeding, laughing wrong, and alive. He climbed out of Lechuguilla under his own power 2 days later. He survived because 5 people refused to leave a virgin passage with a man still in it. The lead was surveyed, sketched, and closed. His wife got the phone call 1 day late. Pancakes happened. Lechuguilla is still the most beautiful cave on Earth, and the gate is still sealed. Somewhere off the western borehole, there is a smooth calcite chute with no footprints past the third bend, and the man who survived it says its name without smiling.